I'm Teresa, and I'm in the bowling business. All of the bowling centers in New York State have been closed since March due to COVID-19. But I'm here to share that we are ready to reopen and we're safe, sanitized, and ready to roll.
Since we've been closed, my colleagues and I across the state have spent our time cleaning, sanitizing, and retrofitting our centers to help ensure a safe and fun experience for when we reopen. When you visit, you'll see an increase of display signs reminding everyone to be wise, sanitize, and maintain social distance. We've added printed signs, floor decals, and have safety messages on screens throughout our centers. Don't just take my word for it. Here are a few of my fellow bowling proprietors from across New York State.
We're keeping our customers and our staff safe with mandatory face masks and temperature checks before every shift.
Put plexiglass guards at the front desk to lessen the contact between you and our employees.
Open bowlers. Don't worry, house balls and rental shoes will be sanitized before and after each use.
We've set up hand sanitization stations throughout our bowling center.
We're blessed with a lot of space here, so we could do this right.
There's plenty of room to be socially distant.
A pair of lanes is 11.5 feet wide. With every other lane closed, owners say social distancing is achieved.
We rearranged our furniture so that every table is at least 6 feet apart so that everyone can enjoy themselves and still be social distanced.
Our bowling centers throughout New York State are safe, clean, and ready to roll again.
Thank you for your patience and understanding. We can't wait to welcome you back to the lanes.
I like it. Now we have public service announcements to
I love it.
Start our show.
I love it.
Happy Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. You got the day right, Frank.
Wednesday. Welcome back to Live from Rabs, where we are inside Rabs Country Lanes. Here.
And we have lights today.
Beautiful Staten Island, New York. Yes.
We have lights.
We have lights. We have power. We have no rain. But it is hot AF outside.
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was up to.
It's getting there.
It's not up into the 90 degree.
Fortunately, last night turned out to be a cooler night after the storm. So for those of us who didn't have power, you could open up the windows, and it wasn't so bad. Now, Naz, I'm going to warn you. I am.
Is there a rant starting?
I'm cranky today.
Oh, okay.
Frankie did not sleep very well.
Sorry.
It's all right. It is what it is. I mean, it just, power went out here. Power went out at home.
Yes.
We still have no power at home. But power came back on about 6:30 or so last night here, which was great. Now, the fun part about that when you're not here, and I waited it out to try to see if power would come up. All these computers have to come back on, and so you got to get everything jump started.
Reboot.
So it sat overnight, which is a little unusual for when that happens. So we'll see where that goes this afternoon as we
power everything back up.
Power everything back up. And if you watched us yesterday, you
know
exactly what we're talking about. So we had our good friend Beth Stanley on, and as she was talking about her book, People Buy from People, we lost power. The funny part about
a couple times we did,
right? It flickered as the storm was coming through. We had heavy winds, some heavy rain in the beginning of the show, and the rain kind of died out, but the wind didn't.
Right.
And I don't usually go back and watch the show. I do it just to clip it and whatever. And I had to go back and see
how bad of a disaster.
So as Beth was talking about her book yesterday, she got very emotional, and while she was getting emotional, she lost us, and she said, "Oh, good, it froze. Maybe you don't know that I'm crying here." And no, Beth, they saw you. They saw you crying. They saw you talking about your book and how emotional that you get. It was good, though. And Beth, thank you for being with us yesterday. We appreciate you taking the time. Beth will be back. And fortunately, we have lights today.
Yeah. It's funny because to me, writing a book, creating music, creating art is it's putting yourself out there. And it takes some vulnerability to put yourself out there and to be accepted and to even be able to do that, I think is commendable. And Beth she's a wonderful, wonderful lady.
She certainly is. And so, again, thank you, Beth. I look forward to catching you and our fellow proprietors and industry leaders on your peer talks later today.
Yeah. I think we want to jump on too.
And, the funny thing about funny and sad thing about the power loss yesterday, as power starts getting put back on in areas, they turn it off because they want to restore somewhere else.
Right.
So in our neighborhood yesterday, it was kind of, I think I got the last laugh for a little while, just for a moment this morning, when I found out that the rest of the block who had power, who made fun of us for not having power, lost power at 4 a.m. So, and if you council member Matteo shared update from Con Edison as well as Jimmy Otto, our borough president, that it might be a multiple day recovery. So some of us might be in the long haul, depending on the neighborhood where you're at, what the situation was. There were some burned wires. I did read a story where a garbage truck pulled a wire out, and trees were everywhere.
Yeah, up in my neighborhood, I had to go to a meeting this morning, and it took probably twice as long as it would normally take because of all the turnoffs and streets that were closed off. Up in there were a lot of older trees, so we had a lot of stuff down. We had we had a lot going on.
Yeah, and so Dennis, Tom,
and I didn't lose power, thank God.
They lost and regained power, and then you're also saying that he didn't lose power. It's very odd because it's in pockets.
Yeah.
And if you look at the outage map, so Con Edison, they've come a long way from updating the outage maps. Yesterday, you couldn't get on it at all. But last night and today, you're able to get in there, and you can see the little pockets.
How it's divided up. Well, obviously, it has to end somewhere, but you could have power on one corner, and then, like you said, even on
my block, corner to corner, my house on the corner is the only house that's with the rest of the houses on the opposite side of the street.
Yeah.
On the opposite side of our street. So it is, even here, when we lose power here, sometimes the residents lose power. But
or people across the street.
So anyway, thinking about those who don't have power today, hopefully if you're watching this and you lost power and you're catching up, hopefully you're all right. Showering in candlelight, because I have no window in my bathroom, was fun this morning.
It's kind of romantic.
I had like a drip of warm water still in the tank. But it wasn't terrible. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's the thing that's difficult. I can, when we lost power, I can get through pretty much anything. Well, the one summer we lost, actually, my husband isn't very tolerant of the heat, so we did sleep in the car at some point, and the
big outage,
Cold War, that big power out. Yeah,
funny, power outages are so different today than they used to be.
Yeah,
last night, walking around the neighborhood just to get out of the house and see because it was very dark.
Yeah,
but I saw a lot of car headlights on.
Yeah,
people charging up. Charging their devices in their cars. That was never the norm. You might have sat in your car to cool off,
right?
But they're all charging their devices in their cars.
Well, listen, everybody has their priorities. A funny question did come up yesterday when I was reading through the posts that somebody asks, how do neighborhoods with underground wiring lose power?
Good question. I don't know.
And the answer was salt buildup underground from the winter time.
Oh, that makes sense. So my brother has underground power, and they did lose power, but again, they regained it last night in the middle of the night. Yeah. They typically get it faster.
Right.
So when Sandy
because they don't have to repair the overground.
Right. So Sandy, we were out for power for 8 days, like we were here, and my brother had sporadic on and off. When he lost it, they were regaining. They were
Right.
putting. That's interesting. I didn't know.
Yep. I
Check it out.
I had no
Welcome
idea.
to Live from Rabs. Get a science lesson.
There
as
you
well.
go.
The other thing we didn't talk about quick. I don't think we did. Did we do a quick recap on the St. George Theater telethon? We didn't. I know yesterday I had all these notes and we never got to them because we had to abruptly end the show. So quick kudos to the St. George Theater on their execution of the virtual telethon.
I felt it was flawless.
They did a great job.
They did a great
Most
job.
of it, if not all of it, was pre-recorded, but it was set up as live, so you might not
couldn't
know.
tell, right?
They really did a great job. They announced that they raised over $60,000 through that effort.
That's awesome.
Which was really cool. They had Frankie Valli as a headline. They had a lot of local talent. It really was cool. So a good hour, 15.
Yeah, it was about an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah.
Of entertainment, which you could still watch. So go check out the St. George Theater
Yeah,
Facebook page.
They covered it on Facebook, YouTube, on their website. They had several places where you could watch it, and we loved it. We loved it.
I thought it was great. Really, really done very well, and much needed. We had the ladies on the show a few weeks ago, and they were talking about preparing the theater and being closed through the winter. And $60,000 is a lot of money, and so thank you to those who donated to the effort, and remember to support your arts. On the radio this morning, I was listening to. I listened to a little bit on NPR. I moved from NPR and then I go to Sirius, and I kind of go all over the place. But the On Broadway channel, Christine Petty, she was talking about how this is hurting the actors and actresses, and we've been talking about internally. We've been talking about the housing market and people leaving Manhattan and going elsewhere because they can't afford their apartments. Because they're not working, so they're finding housing elsewhere. And we are seeing an influx of people here on Staten Island that looking for apartments and condos and whatever. At the same time, they're going to lose their health benefits through the Broadway League because they get it based on how many hours they work. Well, here we are,
at the end.
6 months later. By the time the renewal period comes around, they're not going to have worked almost the whole year.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine that they've done pretty well by their people. At the same time, there are a lot of people that rely on that insurance program. Yeah. So think about. We need to continue to support our arts and our theater.
So
important. And certainly those folks. Yes, there's a lot of money in the Broadway League and their trade association. At the same time, it impacts
that
so
money
many
has
people.
to trickle down to so many people. Yeah. Staffing and
So anyway, if you haven't checked it out, St. George Theater Facebook page. Check out the virtual telethon. Done really, really well. Kudos to the ladies. Hey, Naz,
Frank.
Today's Wednesday. We have a special guest with us today.
I was a little confused because I heard Chris Keller was going to be on. So immediately I thought, from Oz, Chris Keller from Oz. One of my all-time favorite shows. But no, he's not Chris Keller from Oz.
Is that one of your all-time favorite shows?
Oz, yeah, in a weird kind of way. There are shows that you watch.
Sorry, Chris, wait.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to just go aside. We're going to give you a different...
I love that show too, but I mean, in a weird... I understand that.
So it's there are shows that you watch that make you feel good. There are shows that you watch like Law and Order because of the intrigue and you're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Oz, I watched with such tension in the pit of my stomach that I really never knew where it was going, and it's totally not the type of thing I would like to watch.
No.
But
that's why I'm surprised. I don't think I knew this.
I liked it from the psychological point because I am very interested in psychology and how people do in settings like that, and I always like the interplay between the characters. So that's why it interested me. But I have to say, there were times where I'd be like,
unfortunately, Chris is not in jail, and he's not walking around naked.
and he's not that particular character who was not really a good guy. But it is Chris Maloney, so how could you not like him?
It was a good show. It definitely was a good show. Huh. I don't think I knew that you liked that show. And I like that.
Look at how many people came from that show. How many people that were on that show that went on to great careers.
Unless there's something else going on with you, I don't know. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Hi, guys. Hi, Naz. Hi, Frank. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for joining us today. Sorry, we had some catching up to do after yesterday's debacle.
Yeah, I saw that.
How did you guys fare through the storm yesterday?
We actually were okay. We had high winds like everyone, but my neighborhood, I lost power for a little while, but my bowling center was unscathed. We just had some small branches, some small stuff, but thank goodness, both my house and my business are okay. So
good. Yeah,
and only lost the power for about an hour at home. So.
All right, that's good. The storm really moved very quick. It was
amazing,
really quick. So which was a good thing, because if it just stayed, it would have been
so
much
a problem, right?
But
and there was so little rain too.
Yeah, not anything like they were predicting.
No,
because it moved. I think because it moved further inland.
Yeah.
But they were I mean, they were all over Staten Island. There were sandbags up to protect certain areas. So,
and it's funny because for us, we don't usually. You guys see this stuff more than we do,
right? Because sticking
on
out.
Long Island. So you guys are just out there. You know, that island part of New York, like just way out there. We don't usually see what we saw, so it was a little different. Typically, then you guys are a little bit used to it in hurricane season, I would imagine.
When I was watching you yesterday, you guys were experiencing, you were hearing noises outside, and obviously it was getting bad there. And I was at my house, and there was nothing going on. It was just, light winds, but it hadn't started yet. So I told my wife, it's coming.
It's on its way for sure.
Yeah.
So, lots to talk to you about, but first I want you. So you are sitting in your sadly very closed bowling center right now.
Yes.
So the alley, and I want the All-Star. Excuse me.
Yes.
I'll talk a little bit about the bowling center and where you're sitting right now. You just showed this off, and it's a beautiful facility. Just talk about where you're sitting right now.
This is the kind of what we call the skybox in my restaurant. So it's 3 stories. If you turn it this way a little bit, you can see the big screen over the bar. It's a little bit hard with the glare, but and the lanes are over this way. That's downstairs. So I have a beautiful facility. It's about 40,000 square feet. Very lucky to own this, and it's if you're ever out in the east end of Long Island going to wine country, stop by, and I'll gladly show you guys around. But it's it's 28 lanes. We have 22 lanes of regular bowling. We have 6 lanes of VIP, and 110 seat restaurant. And we have a nice arcade, a redemption arcade as well. So it's a beautiful place. Just wish it was open.
Yeah. Right here. So out in Riverhead, right?
Yeah, it's in Riverhead. Right off, you pretty much go to the end of the expressway.
Yeah.
It's straight out on 58. I'm on Main Road, which basically is the expressway, the continuation of the expressway. So I'm right before really it gets very rural, and it's wine country after me pretty much.
And it's funny because when you drive, I'm not a fan of driving down that expressway. There's only one way in and one way out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But when you drive the cool part about driving through that expressway, you could it's not as much anymore, but at one time you could get off almost every exit and be a bowling center right off the exit, or just a little down the road, not far, as you go along. And it's still that way, not as, of course, as bowling centers have closed, but it's just really cool.
I love it out here.
And that bowling center, you took that over, right?
Yes. It started out, it was built, and I was a partner at the beginning. And then I've owned it myself for the last 4 years. It's been here 9 years now. And it was designed by this fellow, Chris Smith, and that's why the restaurant's name is Smitty's. He designed a lot of restaurants in Manhattan, Chris Smith. It's a place, CMS Architecture is the name of his company.
Oh.
And he did a beautiful job. I mean, it's all reclaimed lumber. We actually there's so much reclaimed lumber. we didn't purchase it. We actually took down 2 barns, one in New Hampshire and one in Vermont. If you see the red and the white, it's 2 different barns. We have old warehouse windows from Brooklyn. That's over here next to me. So it's a beautiful place. I even have an airplane wing over my front desk. So it's very unique, designed really unbelievably. I wouldn't even have the insight to know where to start with a place if I was going to design it myself. So I'm very lucky. It's a beautiful place, and we've done very well. We were a growing, thriving business, just like you, Frank, when this happened. And who would have thought that we'd be closed for, going on 5 months now? It's pretty amazing. But we've done pretty much everything to get ready. We're just waiting for the green light from the governor.
We certainly are. Yeah. And I want to talk a little bit about that too. So the last 2 days we've been opening the show with the public service announcement that was put together collectively by our friends through the New York State Bowling Association. Your video is a big piece of that, and you've spent some time. And we're actually working on the same things as we're preparing our opening. It's just a messaging. It's important for people to know. From your perspective, the reopening the business in Long Island certainly is different than anywhere else. And I know we're patiently waiting that green light. Get that shutdown, and I think we've all gone through this so differently. But what's going on in Chris's mind when it comes to this, where we're at today?
Well, literally, as soon as this place was shut down, my main thing was what can I do to get it ready? I mean, to make my customers feel, willing to come back and feel safe and secure and want to return after they come even once. And so I literally spent in excess of $20,000. I researched everything from temperature stations to electrostatic foggers to signage to anything you could name. Really, as you know, Frank, we pretty much hadn't gotten any guidance to what we would expect when we were to reopen. And we really didn't expect to be closed this long at the beginning. So I just continued to think of every avenue which would make me and my family feel safe and secure, and really, put my money where my mouth was. I just said, I'm doing it. And I talked to some other people and they're waiting to see what to do. I didn't feel that way. I felt like the least I can do is try to do anything I could to get it ready. And my employees too. I have great employees. I have 35 employees. They're all waiting to return. And I can't wait to see them again. I can't wait to see my customers again.
So during this time, your restaurant, what's been the status of your restaurant?
Well, we were closed until, trying to think the dates now. I think it was the middle of May. I think it was, beginning of June, we were allowed to do outdoor dining. We never did outdoor dining here before, but luckily I have a beautiful piece of property, and we have grass before the main road, a nice piece of grass. So we put tables outside. We were able to design a nice outside seating area, and we got a special permit, which they fast-tracked for us, and we were able to do outdoor dining. 2 weeks later, which was phase 4, which we were expecting to open the bowling center as well, we were at least allowed to open the restaurant. So right now, since phase 4, we have outdoor dining and indoor dining. And so it helps. But just like a lot of bowling entertainment centers, bowling centers, bowling drives everything. The restaurant was a good prep to get my employees ready for the new way of doing business, the new way of cleaning, the new way of doing everything. And so it was a good stepping stone, but, we really do need to open because, my place has lost, thousands and thousands of dollars every day. And it costs me more to keep the place open than it is if I just shut it down. I'm not making money right now with the restaurant open, but it's good for the place. So we do it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you talked about even spending on the PPE and preparation. No, we're in the same boat. Every time I turn around, the list is getting bigger, and all the things to and all the different things to prepare for. So to your point, yeah, we need to prepare as much as we can because we still don't have the guidance. We believe based on what they've done, we'll have an idea, but they might come up with something and we're going to look at them and go, okay, but the more
Right.
the better.
Right.
But every time I turn around, I'm just swiping a credit card. It's like, okay,
Right.
there's zero coming in, or whatever might be coming in for some people. To your point, isn't enough to pay those bills.
Well, I spoke at a press conference yesterday, and we were kind of focused on the amount of taxes that we have to spend while we're closed. And out here in Suffolk County, my taxes were due the end of May, and they only gave me a 3-week extension on paying those taxes, and that was across the board for everyone in Suffolk County. So it really didn't matter whether I paid the taxes the end of May or the 3rd week of June because I wasn't open and I wasn't going to be open. So I had to pay $116,000 on my property taxes on time, and still haven't been open since then. So it's a difficult thing to be open in this environment. It's a difficult thing, Frank. It's tough.
We haven't paid the property tax.
Yeah, I don't understand why it would be the simplest first step is to, and listen, I understand why they want the money. The state wants the money, the city wants the money, but it would be the simplest first step and just give the business owners just a slight bit of relief to just put off the property taxes for now. Just delay them. But like you said, 3 weeks, what difference does it make?
Doesn't make a difference, right?
I'm in a better position in 3 weeks than I am right now. So it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, and there are so many little things that the city agencies, to your point, could do that would just be helpful. I'm not asking for a freebie.
Right,
I'm just help me. 18% interest rate. Do I need to be imposing interest rate today? I mean, are you kidding me? You're telling me I can't open. I mean, there's no money coming in. How many bills could we pay? And I think that yesterday we talked a lot about, and this goes back to the point you made about your architect, right? You bring in the expert. You bring in the expert because I wouldn't know anything what to do. And so we're talking with Beth the same thing. And you know what? The city agencies should be bringing in some of these small business experts to have just a conversation at least.
Right, at least know where they're coming from, and or to understand their operating environment, so they can make better decisions on how to move forward.
Yeah.
So
and then knowing what we're going through, it's really truly sad to see because we're a family in the bowling business, but it truly is sad when you hear of a bowling center going out of business because of this. And I think last week 2 went out. One upstate New York and one, I think, in the Bronx.
Yep,
so it's Van Ness. Yeah. So it's just terrible. And I don't want to see it happen to more people. That's for sure.
No, and sadly, there are a couple of others on the brink here in New York City who are similar in our case in high rent areas, high taxes and high rents, and they got to reevaluate where you're at. And so we're okay right now. But if this went on for I don't know how much longer, it makes you evaluate your business position. Yeah, for sure. Listen, and it doesn't matter what business you're in, everybody's in the same boat to an extent. The difference for us, though, is the size of our businesses. It's the 40,000 square foot building that's sitting idle. That if you could even take a few thousand square feet and turn a profit somewhere, that'd be wonderful. But it's not. I don't want to complain. It is what it is at this point.
Difficult.
But it's the truth. Yeah.
We said this together when we were together a couple weeks ago. We're all going to get through this together. Fight the good fight. Whether or not we know we're being heard, whether or not they want to act on us is a different story. And I think that's the concern we all have. Yeah. Hey, we're being heard. Our elected officials have said the governor's office is well aware of our bowling centers. However, they're not going to move. Unless there's proof or whatever else they're thinking about that they're just not talking.
Yeah, I think the problem is coming with the way things are lumped together. I mean, I understand. separate things out and evaluate them one by one. And I'm not saying you got to open them all at the same time or separate them all, but at least evaluate them separately.
Chris, we were talking about this. We believe partially it's the tax groups that we're in. So we don't pay a tax per se on the physical bowling.
Right.
So bowling isn't taxed. A movie ticket isn't necessarily taxed. Now we pay lots of sales tax.
Yep.
We collect and pay it
and pass on.
So does this become a problem long term where they're going to look back at our industries and go, oh wait, you guys were closed for all these months. How are we going to make it sales tax? And are they going to want to impose that sales tax on these entities again? They opened up golf, but not our industry. So these are, hate to think that way and put it in the universe, but you never know. Anyway, so hey, speedy recoveries are coming, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's hope.
You said fight the fight, and we'll get out of this.
Yeah,
together.
and so you wear lots of hats in our industry, and on the capital improvement side, where you work for Cubic AMF, what are you seeing there? I know that your region is pretty broad, but what are you seeing from your perspective there?
Obviously, there's not a lot of sales going on because of the shutdown. I mean, I'm in charge of Eastern Pennsylvania, all of New Jersey, and the eastern part of New York, and a little bit of Maryland, a little bit of Delaware. But as far as New Jersey just opened, and a lot of them they've had their restrictions changed. So without the revenue coming in and the owners being comfortable, they're not even thinking about doing modernization at this point.
Right.
But there are some new projects that are going forward. They look at it as opportunity. A lot of people can.
Right.
There's some business people that look at an opportunity to buy centers that are in trouble, also to renovate their businesses or build. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing some. There's definitely still some movement, but definitely with the shutdown, there isn't a lot of modernization happening. Mainly just repairs, maintenance. Households, rental shoes being purchased, that kind of thing.
Well, maintenance, I think, is the big thing here. Maintenance and service, and so having everything shut down for a period of time, if you're not properly caring for it,
right.
I would imagine certainly has been the topic of the phone call that you're receiving.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we actually, Cubic AMF as a company has done a great job as having a resource center for that. And things you don't even think about, like what chemical you use to wipe down your bowler terminal, your Super Touch. Because the wrong chemicals could harm the touch screen, or what kind of chemical you use to wipe down your synthetic couch or whatever. So that's an important thing, as well as when you're ready to reopen, calling your manufacturer to find out what's the proper way of reopening, because these pin spotters, many of them are 40, 50, 60 years old, and they're not used to being shut down for 4 months, 5 months. So what happens, you turn them back on, and some of the older motors go, and we're finding that across the board. Brunswick machines, AMF machines, doesn't matter. They're just not used to. They're used to running like workhorses every single day. So this shutdown has really affected them.
Where is Jimmy? Jimmy said that since day one, and so we run the machines every day. Listen, to your point, it's not the same, but at least they're running.
Correct.
We're a little concerned when we get back up. We can only reset the lane so many times and run them.
Right.
It's certainly not the same. He's praying for a 180 in and out of range at times.
Yeah.
Be working.
Yeah, we're even doing it with our lane machine, because the lane machine too. Then you got to run those because otherwise things get clogged, things don't run correctly. So we've been doing the same thing. We're running the machines. We oil 10 lanes every other day just to make sure that the machine's working good when we're ready to reopen. That's all.
Our lane machine is sitting right in front of us. Michael ran lanes the other day. Yeah, it's without a doubt. It's all these little things that you don't realize.
Right. Yep.
And again, it's the trickle effect. no matter what we're talking about. We're talking about the pandemic and things being shut down as a result of that, other things happening, including a coin shortage. Who would have thought?
Right.
Then you're talking about internally your business, to all the things you're saying. You don't realize until you
Yeah, absolutely.
we had a power outage yesterday. We just, I'm not very happy about this, but we replaced about 10 batteries in emergency lights in the last 2 weeks. And guess what?
Now
I'm
they
waiting
gotta
for
bring
Jimmy to get the pole out to start testing them all and wonder how many more batteries we're going to have to replace. You know,
Things you don't think about. Exactly.
Think about.
without a doubt. Hey,
Because in the normal world, how many days a week are we usually closed? Days a year? 2, 3?
Yep.
Two. Yeah. So
half days, but mainly we
Right.
close 2 days a year. 4th of July.
and we all pray as owners for no snow days. Now we have the longest snow day ever. You know,
Yeah.
2.5 months of a snow day. Crazy.
It's still March, right? It's March 142.
Yeah.
I keep saying the winter still hasn't left.
Yes.
But although after yesterday, I don't know what to.
Yeah.
It just adds. Yesterday just added to the shit pile of 2020.
You honestly, 2020 is honestly a meme. It's like, what else? You know, people will post like killer hornets and it's almost like, is that, because that could be true. That you want to believe everything is open, you know.
I'm saying this as a loyal Met fan. I love the Mets. I love the guys. I love the players. Me and my son go to opening day every year. You know, we watched the opening day here this year. But someone posted on Facebook that if 2020 was a baseball team, it would be the Mets. And it just gets every day is something else. You know,
especially right now, especially this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true, and we could say that about any season. Forget about this one.
Yeah, it's it.
Hey, and so I want to go back because
let's go back.
We talk about this all the time, and you know, funny, our good friend Bill says he didn't know he was in company of greatness. I love it. Bill featured in that video, that public service announcement we shared before. So go back, your roots in bowling. How did you get? Where did you start in bowling come from?
My bowling started from my dad. My dad was a very competitive bowler, and he took me bowling, and I was hooked from age of 12. I used to go literally tag along with him to all his league nights. I was the kid that kept score back in the day before scorers were, you know, the way to go. But yeah, he got me the love of bowling. Unfortunately, he just passed away from COVID-19. Terrible thing, but it shows you that's another reason why, I took it very seriously for my business, because, you know, I don't want anybody to have to lose a parent or a loved one like I did. But so it started there. And when I was in college, I was on the pro tour, summer pro tour when I was going to college. And I developed bowler's tape when I was bowling a rabbit squad. And for those of young guys that don't know what a rabbit squad is, that's what they call the pre-tour qualifier. So it was a tournament before the tournament, so you could get in. And so we were practicing one day. It was actually in Waukegan, Illinois. And everybody's practicing and people are cutting tape. And I said, why isn't there just tape ready to go for bowling? And I went back to my hometown. I tried to, see if any pro shop had pre-cut tape. No one did. And I decided to come out with it myself. And I approached two big companies, company 3M and Permacell, and we developed the product. And I sold it to AMF in 1992. And I still get royalties to this day from the manufacturer, from the raw material.
Not bad.
American dream story, but yeah.
When I first met you, my dad loved you. I mean, Dad always had stories, and he would be talking about peddling products.
I love your dad too. I really did.
He was one of the best. And today is his birthday, so happy!
Birthday!
80. He would have been 82 today.
Wow.
To think about, because people become frozen when you. Well,
he's still 49.
Well, yeah, right. He was frozen before that.
So taking the product and then peddling it. And those are the stories that he would talk about. You know, visiting pro shops, and I had this idea, and so it happens. And you know, you made it just sound so easy. I don't believe
it wasn't that easy.
It wasn't
right,
that easy.
right. And listen, I remember meeting Chris a long time ago too, and he, you know, I think he worked very hard on that relationship with the pro shops, knowing how important it would be to his business. And listen, he's such a likable guy, and
Thank you.
And yeah.
But my dad used to say you got shafted too. He's like, he should have got gotten more for that product.
But it really was, you know, it was a hit from the, you know, and I give, you know, it goes back to my dad. You know, he owned delis his whole life. He was in deli business 35 years with my mom. And, you know, so he had just retired. He was just retiring when I was coming out with Bowler's Tape. So he financed it. And luckily, it in return, when we sold it to AMF, it padded his retirement. So it was good for him as well. But it was a great thing right from the beginning. I remember when we first received the product, the raw material, I guess the mock product, when we first got it, it was on huge rolls, about 10,000 piece rolls. And I went around during the practice session at Garden City Bowl. It happened to be where the Pro Tour was that year in Long Island. It was at Garden City Bowl. And I went there, and I remember, you know, I was pulling off, you know, arm's length's worth of the tape off this huge roll and handing it to bowlers. And like Johnny Petraglia, I remember him look at this, and he looked at it and he said, "Where'd you get this? This is unbelievable. This is great. I want more." So as soon as I got the reactions from those guys, who I still have super respect for, it was all uphill from then. It really took off. We sold it all over the world. A quick story too. I remember the first time I was trying to we was just selling it, and we came out with the packaging, and I was bowling in a regional in Leisure Lanes, which was in New Jersey. And Tita Semez had a pro shop in Leisure Lanes. So I loaded up my truck with boxes of the Bowler's Tape and drove to the regional early. So I was going to sell it to Tita Semez. And I walked in the pro shop, and he already had it on the shelf. I had forgotten that I sold it to distributors, and they already got it to the pro shop. So it was kind of beat me to the punch.
Yeah, that's great.
That's cool. People see a product that they knew people wanted.
Yeah.
All right. So the original. Before what time frame are you talking about?
That when the original idea I had in 1984. And 1984 was the start of the Bowler's Tape. And it grew from there. And I sold it to AMF in 1992. But the when I first had the idea was probably mid 82 probably. And you know, that's when I went to the different pro shops. No one had it. I went to at the time everyone used black electrical tape, the old school guys, and the new wave people used a product called Curity, which was a white medical tape. Yep. So I even went to medical manufacturers, and I went to the different drugstore chains to see if I could buy it in bulk before I thought to pre-cut it. And no one would sell it to me because I wasn't a drugstore. So I went to the company Permacell that made the white, and 3M that made the black raw material. And so if I told them the idea, and they actually said, "Go and get a patent on it, and we'll be happy to make it for you." And that's what happened. It took me a year to get the patent, got the trademark, and then we went back to 3M and Permacell, and they made the original product for us. And the rest is history. It grew and grew and grew. And to this day, now it's sold by many different companies under many different names.
Yeah.
So the Storm sells it, Ebonite, Master, everybody. Brunswick, AMF.
Often duplicated, but never truly replicate. Right? Replicated.
Yeah. So obviously, there had to be a point where you knew that it was a good idea, but you knew that the glue that was on the tape, the Curity tape and the electrical tape, was an issue.
Yep. That was originally. We wanted to get at that, and then when we went to 3M and Permacell, we talked to them, and that was the main thing. We wanted to, when you took it out of the bowling ball, we didn't want it to leave any residue. no matter how hot it was in the trunk of a car or where the bowling center was. And so that was a big part of developing it. And that's why to this day, I still get the royalties on the raw material, because I helped them develop the correct adhesives for both the black and the white that's being sold by those companies, the raw materials.
Awesome.
So
smart thinking.
Yeah. So the original product was the black tape, right? So
correct.
Very simple. And then
we actually launched both at the same time.
Okay.
I didn't want to leave because there was many like I called old school bowlers at the time that used black exclusively, and white was kind of new because it was rough. It had a thicker texture, thicker density, and a thicker texture. But so I came out with both, and we actually launched a 1-inch version and a 3/4-inch version in both black and white. And then with demand, about a year later, we came out with half-inch finger tape. And we came out with different carriers for it, different dispensers for it. And the product line grew pretty large until 1992 at Bowl Expo. I remember like it was yesterday. I was getting on the elevator, and Phil Knisley, who was the CEO of AMF at the time, he sees me outside the elevator, and he says, "Hi, Chris Keller, right?" He goes, "Yeah, hi. How you doing?" He goes, "You're doing a great job with your product." He goes, "Would you be interested in starting a relationship with AMF?" And I said, "Well, what type of relationship are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, we'd like to buy you." And I said,
personally, I'm not for sale.
He goes, "You would, could I fly you to Richmond and we could talk?" And I said, "Sure." And about a month later, he did that, and the rest is history.
That's awesome.
And my concerns in the beginning was that they were going to take the product and spin it off and get rid of me and kind of learn the business. And so I love bowling. I love the product. I love being in the business. Once after our discussions, once I realized from talking to Phil that they wanted me as much as I wanted to be with them.
Right. So
it was a marriage, and honestly, I've been with AMF. This is my 28th year, so it's a great relationship. I would do it all again. Very happy, and now I have this beautiful place here that I'm sitting in, which is my ultimate.
And AMF was building kind of the consumer empire at one time, and that obviously that slowly faded as they come out of the marketplace and have done other things. But you mentioned the patent. I think the patent's the most important piece of the puzzle, right? So what is the physical patent on? Is it is it the whole picture? Is it the material, the glue? Is it multiple? You have multiple patents for it?
It's multiple, right? One's a design patent on the pre-cut tape, the side, the way it's rounded at the top so it doesn't roll back in the hole. So that was one, and the other one is on the actual product. It's on the mixture, the formula for the adhesive.
And then
we had a trademark on the name.
Right. Well, of course, that was later on. You could see they tried to,
right, kind of play with that.
Yes, and that was a mistake. I mean, that was the biggest thing is the ability to tear it easily, the ability to, if you want to change the size of it, the ability to take it out when you wanted to, and not have to worry about cleaning the hole out because it was all gummy and sticky, because you can't have that. So all those factors, made for the success of the product.
I don't. It sounds stupid here, but is this ultimately your product wound up under is it Master, or did Master create their own?
Everybody kind of now they're all under their own. Patent only went 15 years, so all the different manufacturers are made by different places, but ultimately, unless it's a completely different product, they're still made by 3M and Permacell.
Wow, that's awesome. And which I believe you, under the name Real Bowlers Tape, it's available today via Amazon.
Yes, yes. Yeah. That was kind of a result of over time, the formula of the product was straying, I guess, for costs, and it was becoming not the same. So I decided to do that with a friend of mine, and that went back to the normal formula. So
that's awesome. And so black versus white tape. what was the most popular for bowlers?
White.
White, yeah.
White, absolutely. Yeah, it really was. A 1 inch white was 2 to 1 over 3/4 inch white, and 3/4 inch white was 2 to 1 over black 1 inch white. So it was kind of a duplication. It kept doubling as you went, but 1 inch white was by far the biggest seller.
I hate white tape.
Yeah, it was funny because when I think back to what was available at the time before bowler's tape was, it was electrical tape, it was cork inserts.
Oh, the cork inserts.
There was another kind of a plastic insert with a sponge underneath it.
Yep.
And it was funny. There was and all of those things were horrible to get out of a bowling ball. And then when bowler's tape came along, I was like, well, you could use this, and it takes care of all those issues. And then when you're ready, you just take it out. So it was like the perfect solution.
But you're absolutely right. Back then, the main product was the cork, which was terrible. I mean, literally, it filled the need, but it was so thick, and you had to make the hole so big to use it. And then it over time, it just like flaked out and fell apart. So it was just not the answer. It was a great idea. And, my product, and people say too, and it's true, that most inventions today are just making something that's already out there easier. And that's all my product really was. It's something to make it easier. It was easier to take it out. It was easier to put it in. It was just easier.
That's what she said. Sorry.
I think Chris, did you catch that?
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
She threw you a "that's what she said" line. Yeah. Over time though, the products, the copycats, I will tell you, I've tried many different types, and you wouldn't know over time who's too, like the black tape, too thick, too sticky. It's still today. I think there are some of them that are absolutely awful.
Yeah.
And it could be whether maybe they're still sitting too long. Because I think that's certainly a challenge too, right? But the original product,
if it's the right formula, it shouldn't matter.
Right.
It really shouldn't. I mean, I have a piece of tape that were the original ones. The original bowler's tape had a full logo on the back of the release paper, and then we realized that to print it easily, you could do like a splash of different logos that would be easier to cut it and everything. So I have pieces out of the original pieces. So it's from 1984, and no problem with the adhesive. So if it's the right formula, it's the right. It will come off.
Yeah. Was the original product perforated per piece, or did that come later?
It was always perforated. But when you originally made it, they didn't do the perforations too well, so sometimes it wouldn't. You might find it without it. Yeah.
Okay, so was the original box, the red, black, and white box, was that the original packaging?
That was the original packaging, yeah. But the original packaging has 62 Tangolay and Wantor on it, and that was my dad and mom's address.
Wow.
Oh, really?
And I still have one of those boxes because that's where it started. It started out, we used their house. We were packaging it in the basement. So it grew from that. Then we went to a warehouse. Then we bought our own machinery to make it. It just grew substantially every year. I mean, literally probably 10 times growth every year from 1984 to 1992 when AMF bought it. That's how fast it grew. It was quite a success story. It really was.
Yeah. People watch Shark Tank these days, and they see people doing stuff out of their basement, and it's the true entrepreneur style.
Right.
And so far, I've watched Jimmy test 3 emergency lights, and all 3 of them have worked. So
far, so good.
Good shit.
I know we got more.
That it's a product that's taken for granted, and so it had to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
And you thought what I think is what's fascinating. You thought about everything. At launch, you had all of the necessities came into place. You talked about it, easy to rip, having both black and white tape, the perforation, the size. Of course, I'm sure it wasn't perfect to what you wanted at first, right? But you had thought process. You basically had it all ready to go. Is there something you would have changed from the time you launched it to maybe just production?
No, not really. I mean, it was funny because ultimately the original bowler's tape box is big. I mean, for what is in it, but that helped build the brand because you saw the logo, the red and black box. You didn't forget it when you saw it in the pro shop. We had it in the displays. So, but ultimately, the packaging could have been much smaller. It would probably been less expensive. But I still would have did it the same way because it ended up working in our favor. The big black and red box. Yeah. So I don't think I would have changed anything. And we when I went to market, I guess it worked well because before I had bowler's tape, when I was in college, I had pro shops, and I had also I bought a distributorship back in the day, which was my own really business that failed miserably. It was the distributorship. It was called Long Island Bowling Supplies. It was originally called Horn Bowling Supplies, the guy I bought it from, and that business it made me aware of the distributor network.
Yeah.
Distributor network. So then I understood, when I brought bowler's tape to market, I understood how to get it to market and who were the important players and where I needed to seed it to get to the pro shops. That I wanted to be able to sell directly to a pro shop, but I also wanted to have the distributor have their margin so that they would sell it to everywhere. And that's how it grew so fast, because we were selling it to everywhere, every country, every distributor very quickly.
Yeah. I still feel to this day that all of the, if you look at all the integers of the bowling business on the consumer side, that the distributors have a tough they have a tough time. It's not easy being a distributor. And
that's why it was a tough business for me too, because I mean the margins are very small. You're the middleman. You're handling a lot of products. Products. Flavor of the month. They go in and out very quickly. You overbuy on something and you get stuck with it. And you got to take a loss on it. So there's a lot of reasons. And just like our businesses here, they're big buildings working on low margins. So
a lot of credit.
Yeah, it's difficult. And then like and then you have distributors that are people get desperate and they're just throwing prices out that are, listen, I'm just going to get my money back on this, and somebody who's actually trying to making a living off it, and it's tough. That is the one part of the business I don't think I would touch. So it's tough. It is. You have to be.
It was tough.
On your numbers, on them.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you look at today, the marketplace for the amount of distributors that we have is certainly strong. At one point, we had too many distributors.
There were a lot,
and so
correct.
We are today kind of right sized a little bit. But it's a tough business, and they're so reliant on our business, whether it be if they sell parts, if they're in the parts business, if they're just in the bowling ball business, they're so reliant on everybody else, regardless of how many bowling balls are produced and sent back down and how much product is.
That's why you really look at the trickle down, like you were talking before about, Frank, saying that, us being closed in New York. I mean, think about that. It affects, like Ray in the pro shop, it affects, the pro shop person, and that pro shop person then affects, distributor, and then it trickles down to the guy that's making the accessory product out of his garage, because it's not selling from the distributor either. So it really is amazing that how it affects everyone, this shutdown in the business.
For sure. That's we could talk about that for days. And a product that's that'll never go away.
A success story.
It's a true success story. It's a product that we take for granted. It is in most of all of our. I have to say, I'm the worst when it comes to having things in my bowling bag. So I'm the one that's always asking someone. A piece of tape.
But what's good? You don't have to usually go very far.
I don't.
Usually, somebody you're bowling with or next to you's got bowling.
Yeah, now I might have to have my own little ditty bag because I don't know if anybody's going to be willing to share their shoe brush
there you
as
go.
of now.
Frank, you think you have problems? What do you think about when I have to ask somebody, do you have a piece of tape? And I don't have it in my bag. They look at me like, you don't have tape?
Don't you have a garage full of it still?
Exactly.
That's hysterical. And so, hey, quick, the Amazon, selling on Amazon, and just, it's there for you you're doing it. Do you hold that product? Is it warehouse? How are you operating that piece?
No, a good friend of mine, he runs that really. I have really, I got him the contacts for it. I set him up, and really, he was looking for something. So it's more him than me. I am involved with it, but he's the guy that stores it, buys it, makes it, everything.
So essentially, he sends you a check once a month.
That's right.
Another check.
That's the business Chris just wants to be in.
Just the only way to go.
You know what? It's the only right. And in this day and age, listen, we're sitting in empty bowling centers for sure. That's the way to be.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, we're both talking in our 40,000 square foot buildings.
Yeah. Not much tape is being sold. Sadly. Right. Too funny. Hey, Chris, you're awesome, and we appreciate you taking the time with us today.
Love.
Anytime. I'm so happy you guys invited me. It was a blast. Thank you.
No, thank you. Good luck to you. I know we'll talk. And, for those right here, the inventor of bowler's tape, that product that's in your bag, you take for granted. So you have to thank someone. Not some. Here, look, real in person. Here's the guy you thank. Chris, thanks again. And we will see you soon. And before we know it, our bowling centers will be up and running.
Maybe we'll ask Chris to go on a road trip up to Albany with the kits.
Oh, did you catch yesterday? Beth Stanley wants us to all take our in-school bowling kits up to Capitol Hill.
I'm game.
There you go. He's on.
I have to say, if there's anybody, when it comes to that group getting together, Chris is one of the first ones to say, yes, absolutely.
He certainly is.
And so there's a core group that always that help push the envelope and get people active.
Yeah,
and Chris has been one of those for a long time.
He definitely is.
Thank you for
get stuff done.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
Bye,
Have
Chris.
a good one.
Bye. Be safe.
Yes, you
You too. I'm sorry to hear about that.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry.
Sorry to hear about
Great
that.
guy.
Praise to his family.
Yes, for sure.
Wonderful people.
I say it, and I say it again. You take it for granted. You just don't. And my dad used to. My dad, I think, used to break his chops too. But every time he meant bullshit. He meant bullshit. But for somebody like my dad, an old school bowler, you needed that, and so you were cutting tape off electric. And so
you don't have to tell me.
Right?
I did it for a long time.
I'm sure. I was
bowling way before 1984.
Something to make it easy for you. Something. These days, everything is easy.
Yeah, and you know what? I love I just love the thought process that goes into the looking at a problem or an issue and finding an easy way to solve it. I got to fix that.
He makes it sound so easy.
We know that was a long process.
Yeah, and he talks about it, and just to think, when he's on, talking about all the details that went into making that. A lot of times you don't see that in the first runs of products.
No.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
But as a bowler who saw a problem,
he had that all thought out.
He could have easily just made them rectangle strips, not a rounded edge.
No, that was right.
Not perforated.
It was all thought out.
Think about if it wasn't perforated.
Yeah.
Rip in, and then even I have to say, I hate when you have stickers like that aren't perforated, and you of course you miss it, and then there's
a piece. Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, because we're both kind of weird that way. So
yeah. We are. We're not the only ones. Thank you, Chris, for being with us today. And his bowling center is absolutely beautiful out there. Yeah. And we're going to go.
We're taking a road trip. We have 2 road trips planned.
We have a lot of road trips planned. Chris, at the beginning of the interview, we were talking about 2020. Here's our meme of the day, courtesy of our friend Joe Calandrillo. You never know what 2020 might bring you.
Listen, this could be true.
We talked about the Hornets. Today it's power outages and storms. But those Korean flamethrower squirrels, they're saying
I may have seen one of those in my backyard. I may have.
You never know what 2020 might throw you, but here, some flame-throwing Korean squirrels. They're not Chinese.
No.
They're not Italian.
No.
They're Korean.
They're Korean. I think maybe we feel safe with Korea.
Yeah.
We may be an Asian country right now we feel kind of safe with.
Oh.
So.
And Paul, we certainly can't wait to get back on the lane.
Oh my gosh.
Paul's telling us he bought a new ball right before the lockdown and haven't been able to try it out yet.
Well, we can't
know.
wait either.
We certainly can't wait. We're patiently waiting. We just need you and your help. Keep nagging the nub.
Right,
governor.
the
Governor. Write a note to the governor. Just send a note. Hey, so we didn't. Yesterday was a.
Yeah, it was.
It was fun. We got through it.
It was
we
a
really
cluster.
got through it.
Yeah. We did.
I didn't get to share a photo of the day. It's our 25th anniversary, which half of it we've shared now closed. And our 25th anniversary is going to be extended into 2021.
Well, it's going to be a memorable one.
Oh, yeah. A memory that we don't want.
Remember the 25th anniversary?
Yeah, 2020, where we were closed for a year.
Don't even say that.
We were closed for the year. Sorry, right? Your photos of the day. We've been sharing some old photos. This one is from 2010, 10 years ago. This couple, well, obviously this is just the bride and the photographer, but a couple got married and they had met here at Rabs, and they brought, they did some of their wedding photos here.
Oh my gosh!
And this was fun to watch. Her bowling in her wedding dress. 10 years ago, 2010.
The balls.
Yeah, not really. Yes, they're a little. That's a different shade, but yes,
it's close.
It's been I mean, the problem is we've spent so much money doing other.
Well, yeah, we got this.
That's the next project. I mean, that's happening. Get a few bucks in the coffers, will be all right.
Well, listen, we got bigger fish to fry here.
Yeah, we need to get open.
Yeah, exactly.
So this week we have a few of our youth bowlers that have traveled down to Virginia to bowl in the Teen Masters, and we didn't get to say good luck. And so good luck to, I know, Jason, Joseph, Anthony Mastriani are bowling, and so
good luck.
Good luck. Have fun. Be safe. I heard from Anthony this morning. I was waiting to hear from the others to see how they were doing. I couldn't look up the standings. There seems to be a lot happening with the event at the moment. So,
really?
Good luck. Be safe. Safe travels.
And if any of the parents want to reach out to us and let us know how they're doing, let us know.
Yes, Rob, that's what we were saying. A great invention. Certainly. Can't imagine what it'd be like to cut your own electrical tape.
Oh my God.
Real world problems we had, right?
Oh, that was horrible. I can still feel the glue in my thumb.
And thank Chris, because it was all
in his head.
Somebody had a
started
vision.
in his head.
Hey, I do want to. So August 1st officially marks the new bowling season. So happy 2021 bowling season. As happy as we could be when bowling season can't even start.
Imagine that.
At least here. With that came the change to no weight holes and bowling balls.
Yep.
And
age.
Yeah. So on the youth bowling side, the maximum age for participation is now 18. So lots of changes in rules and governance. Also on the leadership side, we have a new president of the USBC, Melissa, who was here with us, officially started her term, and she started off right 3 days into her presidency. She called a meeting. We had a committee conference call. I was like, great. It was funny because she's sitting there, and Carl was the past president. She says, I'm sorry. He goes, I'm trying to enjoy a little vacation time. So congratulations to Melissa. Good luck. And our friend Chrissy Kent has replaced her, Melissa, as the chair of the youth committee. So good luck, ladies, in your new roles. It's exciting to watch from the outside these days.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Certainly is.
But you're not so much on the outside. You're on the inside outside.
Also in New York State, we'll have to say thank you to Mike Pettinella. Mike Pettinella was our association manager for New York State USBC for the last 10 years. He was instrumental in helping us move forward with the New York Bowling Association. At the time, what became the Empire State Bowling Association before we merged. He has retired from his position.
I didn't know that.
And, Mike's a great friend. He's done some great work. We got to work very well together at the reformation of the New York Bowling Association.
Well, good for him.
He came in from the. What's funny? Another story where someone kind of came in from the outside, not involved in the governance and volunteer structure, kind of like what we had here on
With
Staten
Dan,
Island with Dan.
right, with Dan Moffat.
He was a writer, a bowling and sports writer from the Batavia area, and he had penned an article that was talking about the problems that the Bowling Association had, and he had to get involved, and so he did. And he ran to be the president when we formed the organization. I served as the vice president for about 6 months to 8 months, whatever it was, and then we hired him to be. I don't even think it was that long. Hired him to be our associate. No, it was about that long, maybe a year. Hired him to be the association manager. So we swapped roles. I moved up. He moved as the employee, and then we worked together with the team to build the New York State USBC. So thank you to your years of dedication and service,
thank you,
Mike, and congratulations to our friend Angelo Corradino, who was officially hired as the New York State USBC Association manager.
Oh, I hope that doesn't mean he's not going to do the local tournament anymore.
Yeah, it does. So we have another challenge. So Angelo has moved on to a new role, and so we have a vacant role. So if any volunteers are interested in being the Youth Region 9 Tournament Director, we'd love to consider that.
But you would have to sit at Angelo's feet first and find out all of his wonderfulness, and then you can, take that role. He is, I have to tell you, he was a pleasure to work with.
And he's going to still be. He just won't be doing that.
Yeah,
He'll still be around. He's in Brewster. So good luck. Congratulations to Angelo. We're certainly looking forward to
another note.
Working with you in your new role as we transition, new leadership. Mike was part of that team to help be instrumental, not only forming, but to take and go to the next step. And so it certainly couldn't be done without people like him. Our current president, Roger Buckman, who Liz DeHart serves as the vice president, and they've done a great job working together. And here we are setting the next, it's the next phase for the New York State USBC. So details, bowlny.com. Go check it out. Congratulations, Angelo. Thank you, Mike. How to get that in. Happy 2021 bowling season. I don't know what's so damn happy about it.
Nice start.
These days.
But that's it. Listen, we're starting under fresh leadership that hopefully can drag us into this new
just drag to the governor's office.
Yeah, exactly. Drag it.
He's not speaking today. I didn't get a notification he's speaking today. So Andy will be on later this week. I know Billy was on. I don't know what Billy said today.
I don't know what Billy was.
I think Billy was on today.
Say either. But
he only said one good thing this week. He didn't say anything else this week.
New York City public school issue is being
ramped up.
It's being ramped up, and
in the middle of what's happening now, in the middle of this cleanup that we're going through.
And I have to say, and this is something that Cuomo said from the beginning, is that what he feels is going to drive the New York City, in particular, plan is going to be the parents and the teachers, and that's already showing its face.
Right, and it's
that
very divisive.
The teachers do not want to go back to the schools until there is a concrete plan that those buildings are going to be safe, not only for them, but for the staff and for the kids.
Well, yeah, and so you're holding facilities like ours at a different. You're holding us accountable in a different way than you are your own facilities, and I think that's part of the challenge too. I don't want that to hold us back, but I do believe that's going to be part of the challenge too.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. Be very interesting.
We'll see in what the next week brings for us here. In the meantime, while you can't bowl, Pro Shop's open for services by appointment only.
Yes, he is.
Come and visit Jimmy.
Jimmy does have, I think, 2 spots available tomorrow. If anybody's interested, just either text me, call the Pro Shop, or use the link on the Facebook page. On the Facebook.
Check out, look for this post right here on Facebook.
Yep.
You can make your appointment. Jimmy will go to your locker. You can come see him with your mask on.
Just know if you make an appointment for the locker dash, that's not an in-person appointment. A couple people have made that mistake.
Oh, no, it's a locker.
And we're sitting here waiting for him at a certain time. But anyway, so he's got in-person appointments or locker appointments. So make it at your choice.
At your risk?
Not at your risk. At your choice. Whichever you choose.
Oh, well, happy Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow, our friend Pam Silvestri is on vacation.
Good for her.
So happy vacation. She was live this morning with Jimmy McBratney and what's his name from Italianissimo. We were talking about restaurants, their businesses, and she went from daily at 9 a.m. to her show on Wednesday. And usually with us on Thursday, she's taking the day off.
Yeah.
But tomorrow, we need to get back to talking about food because we haven't talked about food in like a week.
It's been a long time.
I don't even know what you've cooked. I can't even remember what I cook these days.
Yeah, I can barely remember what I did.
But even without power, you could still cook. You could still do things.
Could still get out there on the barbecue.
Oh, it was a windy day to barbecue.
Yeah, that's a windy day.
I always seem to, you wind up wanting to use foil on the barbecue on the days that it's windy. So I'm sitting there and you always you take the sheet and you're like, I gotta buy. They make those.
I have them.
The sheets.
Yeah,
I don't have them.
I have them because I don't like to use foil on the barbecue because I'm a little bit, I'm a little. I'm extra. Yeah, I worry about
same chemicals that are in that sheet that you buy, even though you clean it. It's the same thing.
Listen, I'm just telling you.
No matter what you heat up at a high temperature.
I worry about the foil, so I don't use foil.
We use lots of foil. That might explain a lot.
What's going on with you? Yeah.
But you always tend to use it when it's windy and it's like you're sitting there.
Yeah, I use that almost all the time when I
gotta get them out.
I just don't like all the stuff falling inside the grill. Like
certain things, like when I slice up certain vegetables, I use them. I use it when I do fish.
Yeah.
Everything else goes straight on, but it's typically certain vegetables and fish because you also don't want it to dry out.
Correct. On the grill. Right.
So tomorrow, I think we're going to be on the road al fresco style because it's Thursday. Now's the guy to figure out where we're off to tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's nice out. It's not grossly hot out. It's
I have a couple of ideas, but we'll discuss.
We'll make it happen. In the meantime, we'll be back here. Joe Cal is back in the studio on Friday. Right here. He was going to join us today. Sadly, he couldn't join us today. He's going to be a little upset that he didn't get to talk with Chris today.
He's busy.
So we're going to have to...
He's a busy guy. A lot going on.
He might have to ask questions of Chris at a later time.
I'm sure he's got a list.
When he watches the show tonight.
We'll
get his
he will text us tonight. He will text us tonight and say, I would have asked. Good interview, but I would have asked. Yeah.
I love when we get the good show, good interview from him. Thanks, Randy. Another fellow bowling proprietor from in New York State, Oak Orchard Bowl. And he's another fantastic guy who's out there pounding the pavement, helping us.
Listen, this is people's lives. It's our lives here.
It certainly is.
We got to get this show on the road.
Yeah. So in the meantime, please
write the governor.
Write the governor. Wash your hands.
Don't touch your face.
Be like Harry. Wear your mask, please. Just do it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Do I like to? No, but whatever. Whatever.
You got to do what you got to do. You got to keep people safe. Not only yourself, you have to protect other people.
Yeah. So here we are.
We're not disputing that. We just think maybe it's time.
Episode 115. 139 days later, we're still sitting here. 2 hacks inside a bowling center. Loving what we do.
You know what? I
missing
think
people.
I think it's starting to show now because I think we're getting getting out in the weeds. I was thinking that like Andy has a mountain, we should have something here. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what the concept is, but I'm gonna toss it around in my head tonight. Maybe a huge bowling pin. I don't know. I don't know. But we're gonna do something.
We do need to move the set.
Maybe
it's time to move.
Yes.
We've been sitting
maybe
here on
we have
33 for quite a while.
Big cardboard cutout of Andy.
No. I can't look at it. I can't stand to look at him.
I will tell you.
It might be pretty for women.
It doesn't have anything to do with that.
He's got a lot of fans that are women. I have to say, on his Facebook page.
Homosexuals?
They definitely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Well, especially at the beginning.
Love to defend him. And doesn't matter what he says, he could say the earth is square. And they, I love you, Andy.
So you know what's really funny is that.
So no, we're not putting a cardboard
cutout. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No, but we could ask him questions. Is what I'm saying.
Oh.
What?
So Andy, what do you?
Right. Yeah, we could put a little speech bubble above his head.
And change it every day.
It may get it. You don't know. It may get us noticed. I don't know.
You're right.
So I don't think there's any state that is happy with the way that their governor is handling it. I listen to, for some reason, Ray likes to listen to it. We listen to the New Jersey radio station, 101.1 or whatever it is, and I will tell you, half the people hate him, and a quarter of the people think he's doing okay. The other quarter are just done. But a lot of people are just not happy.
You're gonna have that no matter what.
Right.
And so here's the problem: we're cooped up. People, I think it all goes simultaneously as a result of what's happened here. You have nothing else better to do. And then the one thing, wait, quick rant.
There you go. That's what I was hoping for.
Think about this. To your point right there, hate, love, in between, whatever it is. But then there's the whole 50% of people who have no damn clue what's going on.
Yeah,
but they still live in a world that
it's hard to
wear a
imagine.
mask now?
Yeah,
really?
yeah, that to me.
I should wash my hands. They have no clue that this pandemic is even.
I can't get my head around that.
Oh, you're not open? How come you're not open?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean you're not open? I can't go bowling today?
Right. Do you not know what's going on?
I went to the mall.
And it was.
Oh, you did? You went to the mall? It was open.
No.
Did you go in the mall?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Did you go shopping in the mall?
I went in Macy's. No, well, maybe Macy's was open, but not
Did you go to Yankee Candle?
People.
Did you go to Starbucks? Did you? Because if you did, please let me know. Because if you did, I really, really, really want to know. On the other note, that's not a bad thing. Though, sometimes
it's insight to people in general and how we think. Everybody knows everything that's going on because
they don't.
We try to stay on top of what's going on.
We have a talk show, so of course we do.
But there are people who honestly, really, they get up in the morning, they go and maybe they get their coffee and they go home.
Maybe they're better off.
There, you are not incorrect. Until they get approached in a store because they're not wearing a mask.
No, we're not going there. But Donna, yes. Donna, we miss you.
Yes, we miss you.
We miss Angelia.
Anyway.
Although, I have to say, I don't know if you've been traveling to New Jersey, but you're, saving some money on traveling and tolls and stuff.
Yes.
Maybe to your advantage these days, not having to come over that bridge. Anyway. Happy Wednesday. It's been fun. It's been real. Chris was awesome. So if you're just catching us now, go back. Chris Keller, the inventor of bowler state, proprietor, wearer of many hats, great guy.
I had no idea about his bowling center with the three. I have to go there.
Oh, it's beautiful. I haven't been there, but I've seen pictures.
I've seen pictures, but the pictures that I've seen, you can't tell the whole scope
in the promotional video. You can see it because he's upstairs showing the fact that they've moved in the restaurant. They've moved tables, and you can see
but it's
not the same. It's the seating.
It's not the same because
It's like a very sports bar.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take a ride up there, and we could eat inside if we go there. If it wasn't in Riverhead, we could go tomorrow. But Riverhead is on the, ass end of Long Island.
It certainly is.
It is a hole out there.
And speaking of the ass end of Long Island, a good, I don't know if you know this, but a good friend of ours passed away this week, Sid Ways, CC's significant other. And
I didn't know
he was
that.
fantastic. He lived his life, 90-something years old. Veteran, one of my good friends. Sid will be missed.
He was a good guy.
Thinking of you and your family, the Long Island bowling family as well.
Him and CC was
one of my favorite. I have a lot of favorite Sid moments.
Yeah, they were special.
They really are special.
Yeah,
and they make you laugh at any moment in time. And the USBC convention, I come out at the annual meeting, and the room is quiet.
Yeah.
And just a moment, they just introduced me. Everybody stopped, was clapping, whatever, and all of a sudden you hear, "Frankie boy!" And there he is, standing up, like waving, he's the only person in the room, about 2,000 people. Just absolutely love him.
Yeah.
And was certainly be missed. CC, we're thinking of you.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys soon. And sadly, we didn't get didn't get a chance to get together with they normally take their
Right.
road trip across the country and
Right.
convention, state meeting.
Right.
So we didn't get to see him for this year. But at the ass end of Long Island is where where the services are being held tomorrow, I believe. So, thinking of you.
Was he in the service? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, is he going to be at the?
I don't know. You know what? And I actually know this, but it's not in the front of my.
I understand.
Yes. We'll figure it out.
Go ahead, figure it. We'll
So
figure
anyway,
it out.
that was great. Thanks for being.
Thanks for joining us, and we really went on and on after.
Hit that little bell.
Yep.
We're making up the time yesterday.
Okay, if you say so.
Hit the like button. That little bell.
Subscribe.
Tell your friends and family. We're here Monday to Friday, 12 noon. Come and join us. Hopefully, we're not sitting here much longer. But until we get open, we'll be here. So.
Until we hear from Andy. I'm getting that cut out, and I'm putting it right here.
with the
bubble. With the thought bubble.
Just like like Chris Barnes has on his show. He's got the whiteboard in the background that he changes the message every day.
Yeah.
We'll change the message on it.
Yeah.
All right, maybe now I'm growing into this idea.
Okay, you think about it.
Until then, we will see you tomorrow. Where you get to watch us talk about food.
Right.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Bye, everybody.